Joseph Ratzinger is a liar. Joseph Ratzinger as Cardinal issued the following policy regarding pedophilia in the Roman Catholic Church. Joseph Ratzinger is a rat. Joseph Ratzinger is the protector of pedophiles and the enabler of child abuse. Archived article. Doctrinal Congregation takes control of priestly pedophilia cases. By John Thavis, Catholic News Service, December 5, 2001. Vatican City. In a new set of norms, the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith has taken juridical control over cases of sexual abuse of minors by priests, classifying it as one of several graver offenses against church law. The move represents a Vatican effort to centralize procedure and oversight on these kinds of sexual abuse cases, said canon law experts in Rome. The norms, outlined in a letter to the world's bishops, affect how church law treats such cases. The typical punishment for those convicted is dismissal from the clerical state. Civil law deals with the crime separately. The new norms require local bishops to report probable cases of clerical sexual abuse against minors to the Vatican's Doctrinal Congregation, headed by Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger. The Doctrinal Congregation then either could allow a local diocesan tribunal to handle the case under the congregation's procedural rules, or intervene and take up the case immediately in its own tribunal. The congregation also said that for priestly sexual abuse cases involving minors, its tribunal is the first court of appeals for the diocesan tribunal. The judicial process protects the rights of the victims who have suffered harm, the rights of the church and ecclesial community which have suffered scandal and damage, and the rights of defense of those accused, he said. The Doctrinal Congregation's Latin language letter was dated May 18, 2001, and was sent in June to bishops and heads of religious orders. The letter said Pope John Paul II had approved the contents, and had written an apostolic letter officially promulgating the new norms. As of early December, however, the apostolic letter had not been published by the Vatican. Archbishop Bertone said the papal letter eventually would be published in Acta Apostolicae Sedis, used for official Vatican documents. He said the norms would be sent to local bishops only on a case-by-case basis, because thank heavens, not all bishops have these problems. Catholic News Service obtained a translated copy of the Doctrinal Congregation's letter, and interviewed church law experts familiar with the new norms. The norms set the statute of limitations for sexual abuse of minors at 10 years, a period that begins after an alleged victim of such abuse has reached his 18th birthday. That is double the 5-year statute of limitations under existing church law. On the other hand, until now offenses reserved to the Doctrinal Congregation had no expiration time. Archbishop Bertone said the 10-year time limit could be lengthened in the future, based on the congregation's experience with cases. The new norms for sexual abuse consider a minor to be anyone under the age of 18, a wider definition than in the Code of Canon Law, which refers to minors below the age of 16. The letter said the new norms reflected the Doctrinal Congregation's traditional exclusive competence regarding delicta gravera. Latin for graver offenses. 8 offenses are covered by the norms: various acts committed by priests against the sanctity of the Eucharist, and against the sacrament of penance, and sexual abuse of minors by priests. According to canon law experts in Rome, reserving cases of clerical sexual abuse of minors to the Doctrinal Congregation is something new. In past eras, some serious crimes by priests against sexual morality, including pedophilia, were handled by the Doctrinal Congregation or its predecessor, the Holy Office, but this has not been true in recent years. The new norms extend to the Universal Church. 2 modifications in church law obtained several years ago by U.S. bishops to deal with such cases: the longer statute of limitations and the wider definition of a minor. The letter granting the U.S. norms, however, referred to the Roman Rota as the Court of Appeals. Archbishop Bertone said a decision now has to be made, whether the particular law for U.S. bishops remain valid, or whether these norms with a universal nature would prevail. It is under study. Archbishop Bertone said the new norms do not preclude bishops from temporarily suspending accused priests from their ministry, while an investigation proceeds, as long as this was seen as a temporary and cautionary punishment, and not as a permanent one. One bishop well informed on the issue, who asked not to be named, said the secrecy demanded by the new norms gives the appearance of a cover-up by the Church. He said the norms were too legalistic, and ignored the pastoral needs raised by pedophilia cases. He questioned whether victims would find an all-priest tribunal an acceptable forum. Those close to the Vatican in Rome, however, said the new norms do not rule out pastoral initiatives by bishops, and they defended secrecy in such cases, saying it was needed to protect the accuser and the accused. The way the new norms were made known was unusual even by Vatican standards. It reflects high Vatican sensitivity to the issue of sexual abuse by priests. The Doctrinal Congregation said it had carried out consultations before submitting its norms to the Pope for approval. But the inclusion of cases of sexual abuse of minors apparently came as a surprise to many even inside the Vatican, and to bishops, who had been working with the Congregation for Clergy for more than a year on devising new approaches to such cases. Moreover, the controlling legislation appeared to be the Pope's apostolic letter, issued motu proprio on his own initiative, and known simply by its first word Sacramentorum Sanctitatis Tutela protection of the holiness of the sacraments. Yet even in Rome, few experts said they have seen the document. On December 3, for example, a high official of the Congregation for Clergy said he had not yet been able to obtain a copy of the apostolic letter. According to one expert who had seen the apostolic letter, and who asked not to be named, the new norms invoke papal authority, and are said to take precedence over the Code of Canon Law. They stipulate that, since the Doctrinal Congregation will act as a tribunal, its members are the judges. But given the workload, it also foresees the nomination of permanent or deputy judges outside the Congregation's membership. Among those making up the Congregation's tribunal are the promoter of justice, notaries, chancellors, lawyers, and procurators, all of whom must be priests. Archbishop Bertone said, however, that the all-clerical nature of the tribunal was a sensitive one, and could be reviewed in the future. The norms list the graver offences, and establish the procedural relationship that should exist between local bishops and the Doctrinal Congregation. The other offences reserved to the Doctrinal Congregation include 1. Sacrilegious acts involving the Eucharist. 2. Forbidden concelebration of the Eucharist with non-Catholic ministers who do not have apostolic succession, and do not recognize the sacramental dignity of priestly ordination. This is a new offense among those traditionally reserved to the Doctrinal Congregation. 3. Acts against the sacrament of penance, such as inducing a penitent to commit sexual acts with the priest or violation of the sacramental seal. The priest pedophilia issue has long been a matter of debate between bishops and church law experts at the Vatican. Where pedophilia has been acknowledged as a sickness, such a request for laicization could be handled by the Vatican's Sacraments Congregation, without a need to prove it as a crime, he said. End of article. Cardinal Ratzinger wrote, issued and authorized this article, and as it clearly states, that the abuse would be handled by Vatican sacraments with no need to prove it as a crime. Now you tell me, to whom does this bitch serve? Clearly it is not the God of Abraham, not Christ. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, now Pope Benedict XVI, is a servant of Satan.